What is a subtle sign that someone is really intelligent? They can ask really good questions. Edit. To anyone not understanding what mean, I'm talking about people who ask really good questions, not just any questions, really good ones. I don't know how one would achieve this skill, I know I haven't. People who use analogies to explain concepts to others. It's a form of code switching, and integrating concepts on the fly is a clear indicator someone is both socially and conceptually intelligent. Explaining something complex is simple terms. Knowledge is so vast that they can talk about in the easiest way for someone else to understand. They can genuinely consider an idea which opposes their worldview without necessarily accepting it. When they explain something, they make you feel intelligent. They spend time thinking before asking a question. They know when their knowledge ends and say something to the extent of, I don't know and anything else I say on this topic is ignorant speculation. They aren't afraid to say they don't know the answer to a question. They admit to changing their mind about something. They effortlessly communicate complex concepts in a simple way. Massive alien forehead. They can follow the plot of Kingdom Hearts without needing any line graphs or charts. Admitting when they're wrong and being willing to learn from mistakes. They say they love learning and they learn something new every day. Then they listen more than talk. They are curious about everything. To be intelligent, you need to be knowledgeable, and you can't be knowledgeable if you are never curious. They let idiots have the last word because they realize that trying to argue any point with them is futile. You know the saying, the bigger man walks away from a fight. Same kind of thing with intelligence. They can switch up the way they talk to match the person they're talking to without sounding condescending. They listen to how others learn and explain it in that person's language of understanding. I think intelligent people are more willing to calmly debate, discuss, rather than argue. Like, you explain to them why you disagree, and they listen to you and ask further questions about your viewpoint before offering a different perspective, as opposed to an unintelligent person, who would just resort to insults when other people disagree with them. Humor. I think that truly funny people are often very smart and cognizant of the different ways an idea can be humorous on several levels. They also know their audience. I think the difference between, say, a Jeff Foxworthy and a Dave Chappell and a Bo Burnham is their audience and their interests. They don't brag about it. They're logical, and they find out more information rather than believing something right away. You can honestly just tell by the vibes, the way they compose themselves, talk, write, think, explain, etc. What I find the most interesting is that intelligent people, in my experience, are more likely to be less cold, fact-driven and more theoretical and creative. For example, if an intelligent person were to read a certain stat, fact, idea, etc., they are likely to have very interesting theoretical extrapolations. My friend qualified for the Mensa membership, and whenever we talk, his mindset always strays towards very interesting outlooks. He has certain ideas that I would never have even thought about. It's actually very fun to talk to intelligent people. The way they are able to absorb information like a sponge and apply that information is very eye-opening. They understand what you're saying before you're even done with your explanation. You shouldn't ask Reddit about intelligence. They don't open up threads like these hoping to find comments that fit how they see themselves. Yeah, I see you looking through these comments. Talking to people as if they're intelligent at their level and without being condescending or even letting on that it's lower than their level. I used to work with a Dr. Tom Howard, and the day I realized he was a genius was the time he guessed every single condition a patient of mine had based on minute pieces of information about him. They're curious as heck. They listen really well, and seek to understand when they listen. Intuition. There is also this lovely thing I like to call intelligence by association. I am a prime example of this. My small rural town seems to think I'm a genius simply because I can read at a level above your average fourth grader, when in fact I'm a high-functioning moron. Active eyes, but not in an I'm tweaking right now way. People who are genuinely curious about the world, ask questions, and listen to others instead of just waiting for their turn to talk. Also, they don't view education as just a means to get a job. They draw wisdom from multiple sources. Wait, but that might be more wise than intelligent. But I guess those two tend to be seen together a lot. Curiosity. Pursuing things they want to know for about and just having an interest in things. They solve math problems left on the board at MIT and they're only a janitor. Dynamism and creativity. I really don't agree with that old notion of an intelligent person, as someone with social difficulties who's good at logical thinking. This is just one single possibility, among dozens of others. This is more of a hit or miss one. but in casual conversation they're good at puns, wordplay. Making good puns, especially spontaneously, requires a high level of understanding in whatever language is being spoken. If they tell you a pre-constructed joke that has a punchline that is a pun, a punchline if you will, you can't really tell, because they could have had a lot of time to come up with it, like me for instance, or they could have memorized it from somewhere, but spontaneous puns generally mean they're processing your conversation multiple interpretations at once, in an intelligent way. Great sense of spatial awareness at grocery store. Everyone wants to be on their team when playing Trivial Pursuit. They can fill in the blanks and skip steps. One of the first cues for me is when someone speaks rather quickly but pauses, backtracks in the middle of a sentence to think about what they're saying. I really like this topic. As an English teacher, I'm probably biased, so take my opinion for what it is. That said, I can often identify a brilliant student by the way he uses written language. It's hard to explain. It's not just vocabulary, and it's not the concepts communicated in the writing. It's the fullness and maturity of the writer's voice, which encompasses the aforementioned and then some. The piece of writing often sounds like it could not possibly have been authored by the student. They completely align with my political views. They surround themselves with those who are more intelligent than they are. If you're the smartest person in a room, you know damn well to find a better room. Someone who knows, they know nothing at all. They ask questions and spend more time listening than talking. Intelligent people often go against the trends and immediately point out when something doesn't make sense even if it's supported by a large crowd of people. They often read things they disagree with in order to challenge themselves. They hear more than they talk and usually know all the answers for your questions. Laughing at a joke a second before the rest of the audience does.